The doctor had to be wrong. There was no other explanation. Richard Mason sat frozen in the small examination room, staring at the white wall as the doctor's words echoed again and again in his mind. 55 years old, successful businessman, millionaire, father of 3 sons, or so he believed. For decades, Richard had built his life on certainty. He co-founded one of the UK's most successful comparison websites. He provided for his family. He paid private school fees. He stayed late at work, convinced he was doing the right thing for everyone he loved. And now, in a single appointment, everything began to collapse. The doctor spoke carefully. Too carefully. Cystic fibrosis. The diagnosis hit hard, but Richard barely had time to process it before the conversation took a darker turn. Cystic fibrosis wasn't just a lung disease, it was genetic. And for men, it almost always meant infertility. Richard tried to stay calm. His sister had died from the same disease years earlier, so the diagnosis itself wasn't impossible. What terrified him was the next question. His sons, could he have passed it on? The doctor shook his head. No, there was no risk of that. Relief flooded Richard's chest, but only for a second, because the doctor hadn't finished. There was a reason Richard couldn't have passed it on. Men with cystic fibrosis, the doctor explained gently, are almost always incapable of fathering children. Not 1, not 3. Richard laughed at first, a short, disbelieving sound. That can't be right, he said. I have 3 sons. He said it proudly, almost triumphantly. In that moment, he truly believed this single fact would erase everything the doctor had just said. Proof, undeniable proof. But the doctor didn't smile back. He looked down, and that was when Richard felt it, the slow, sickening shift inside his chest. The moment when denial began to crack, the room felt smaller, hotter. Suddenly, memories he had never questioned began replaying themselves. Late nights at work, business trips Kate took alone, phone calls from hotel rooms. Small details that once meant nothing, now screaming for attention. Richard left the hospital in silence. By the time he reached his car, his hands were shaking. If the doctor was right, then the life Richard had lived for more than 20 years wasn't just imperfect, it was a lie. And if that was true, someone was going to pay. Richard didn't sleep that night. Every memory came back sharper, crueler. The twins' birth. The comments people used to make, "They don't really look like you," he had laughed it off. A confident man doesn't doubt his own life. By morning, doubt had become certainty. He sent Kate a message. Calm at first, controlled. He explained the diagnosis, the science, the near impossibility. He asked for honesty, not for himself, but for the boys. Silence. Hours passed. When she finally replied, her words felt rehearsed, cold. She insisted nothing mattered except that Richard was their father in every way that counted. Science, she said, was irrelevant. That was the moment Richard snapped. He spoke to his eldest son first, sat across from him, told him everything, expected anger, confusion, fear. Instead, the boy looked at him and said the sentence Richard would never forget. "I know, you're saying you're probably not my biological father, but you're still my dad." It broke him. Tests followed. Experts confirmed it. Richard could not have fathered any children. DNA results sealed the truth, at least for the twins. Biology was undeniable. Kate eventually confessed. A long affair. A man Richard had once shaken hands with. Meetings during business trips. A double life hidden in plain sight. The betrayal was complete. Richard took her to court, not for revenge, but for justice. Years of lies, millions paid. A life built on deception. The judge ruled in his favor. Kate was ordered to repay hundreds of thousands, but victory tasted hollow. Richard didn't lose his sons. They stayed. They chose him. One message from a twin said it all. "You will always be my dad." And that, more than any ruling, saved him. Today, Richard lives with the truth, painful, irreversible, but clear. He learned that blood can lie, people can deceive, but love, once proven, cannot be erased. And some truths, no matter how devastating, still lead to redemption.